Oh, and as you can see, it looks like the plane was pretty vertical and potential for a military circle as 4 teams have landed on the military spot. So you've got a Kretsche on TSM taking alt drops on the south and north sides of the island. Fiumba taking their Nova alt drop, and Gas Cans their normal, comfortable spot of Sosnovka on the C block and the rest of the military structure. But Troglodytes 303 still sitting at north, and as that circle's going to pop, this is the potential for a Milta Peninsula O circle, or even a good spot for Dignitas to play out of. We talk about safety. TSM and Gas Cans both opting for that wide rotation, trying to be safe, but actually getting caught off guard as Adam getting the flush onto Kurt. Now keeping a watchful eye on Alo. The rest of TSM pull back away. So they've managed to break 2 off of 1. So it looks like they've kind of torn TSM apart here.
Yeah. Alo and Penta are not going to keep going down that path. This looked to be a very specific trap that Gas Cans have set up. They see the vehicle. Are they going to keep the push? Are they going to try and go hyper-aggressive here?
Oh, Waiku's actually stops and gets out of the US in preparation for the drive-by that No Chance was bringing, but just as the shots ring out, No Chance actually pulls back. You can see Rizola with the nade out, but RDS is going to fall. Balkan accidentally runs him over. Young King sees this in the kill feed, knows now is the time to strike. Sonic's even third-partying onto this, and that nade should clean house. Gets the flush onto RDS, and there you have it. No Chance had no chance at all. Young Kings picks this one up, but now they need to get into the zone. Doing some damage there onto Dignitas' vehicles, but now working on the transition of their own, getting in a zone, stopping just short of Veritas. There's a bit of a ledge that they can play from inside the circle.
Working on rotating as well as dealing damage to other teams. Dignitas are playing around with a very, very small margin of error here. They're going to follow up on Gas Can's position. Hikerman spotted it out, switching to a grenade. Actually, he's going to underhand throw that. Expecting Dignitas to land right on it. They're sending it over. It's a full crash coming on in. Adam and Hikerman both getting knocked, but Sparking and Punich are there for the trade return. And the remaining Gas Cans members are out in the blue. It's on Niku's. Does Dignitas know what angle he's going to be approaching from?
I mean, you saw Adam look in both directions in confusion, not sure which member of Dignitas to shoot at, but like you say, Niku's still in, and it has a good headshot there onto Honey Badger. Gets a knockout of Sparking as well, and no, he's gonna fall to the zone here. Make sure, to Unciv, actually, who had an eye on him. He's gonna make sure to do what he can to get rid of a player of Dignitas, but actually looks like Punich managing to get all of these reses. So Dignitas should recover as a 3-man. Meanwhile, a Kretsche also on the edge of the zone, taking shots towards members of Sonic. He spotted Mime Smoke Cloud. It's not a good place for Mime to be. Kind of caught out in the open between multiple teams' line of sight, including the Young Kings.
The circle shift keeps a lot of the Milta field in play. So Oath are laughing, at least for now. But if you're not inside, and even Sonics, their compound's in the circle, but it's on the edge. They're trying to find a little bit more, but you can tell that it is not a super comfortable high ground position that they have, even though it is on the high ground. But back here, TSM still facing off against Versus. Grenade comes on through, gets an angle onto one, does Luke, and there it is, the final grenade coming out from Alo to do the rest of the work to remove them in just in time, because they have I think that's a small shack that they can rotate to, but now it's Dignitas' turn to rotate, and this is going to be directly into Oath's building, Oath's shack. How can they defend this?
I mean, we knew Dignitas was going to have to move from that position. Unfortunately, running from plan B, plan C, and not really left else to go. They've managed to get past that shack that Oath has. Actually found themselves a nice rock ridge line to play from. They can see the cover that they have here, and those UAS is aiding and creating some additional hard cover. Meanwhile, SSG walking up onto 303, but Stone Store getting a knock and flush onto Keenan. A Civ focusing on a res for Roth. You can see the nade out, trying to take down members of 303, switching to that M4, but Stone Storm once again is going to connect. It's traded out, though. Roth cleaning on the back end of it.
I cannot follow what the kill feed is trying to tell me right now, because so many open angles between so many different teams. We're seeing Troglodytes take a lot of damage. We're seeing so many fights all break out at once as the blue is pushing everyone towards that Milta field. Right now we're looking at Veritas. Eyes towards the north, eyes towards Troglodytes and 303. Space Station are eliminated from an alternate side of the... actually from this very same side of the circle from the map. And it's just one survivor each of Troglodytas and 303 to try and snake it out. But finally we get a little bit of calm, that is, before Young King continue to push onto Sonics. As we see the circle slightly west of center. Still Oathshack in play. They had a rough time defending it previously from Dignitas. In fact, Relo going down to his own grenade.
As Waikus and Flux both with a Bolty and a DMR out. We've got the SLR and Car 98 into play, trying to do some long-range shots there at Sonics, keep them at bay. But as you see back on the opposite side of the circle, Veritas still quick on their feet here for 22. Grobal's out. Lobes trying to get... Ooh, actually manages to pick up 3 with that nade. Great use right there. Dodge is going to fall, but 22 down to just Vinny. And Veritas have to be a little bit careful getting tunnel visioned onto this because, as you mentioned earlier, there's so much third partying going on from so many teams. Right now is Trisk taking shots towards Veritas.
He's trying to rotate around to a sneaky angle, but I think it's going to be, yep, caught out by Veritas. With 3 eyes all focusing on the prize, they can spread their angles and make sure there wasn't a single position for Vinny to come on in through. But TSM, a lot of damage onto them. They might have did the last bit of damage needed to take Dodge out of this. But it is just Luke remaining, leaving Penta to bleed out. Not an opportunity for the revive. Running away from Akreche, but he's going to be running into Fiumba. Luke tossing agility out, able to stay alive just for a second longer, and Punij is going to finish him off with an AWM shot. Looking at 7 teams, and considering the damage that Sonics is doing towards Young Kings, it might just be 6, but Flux is there to give some return fire.
Oh, this
forces Tiggleton away.
Oh, I just fell short hitting the edge of the rocks there. We can see Flux trying to keep up with Guaycus. It's not really going to be a good opportunity for a res. And now Veritas spotting what's happening with the smokes, looking to see where to take the shots, but turning their attention back to Dignitas. You can see the damage traded to Ethan with Sparking. And as the circle shifts once again onto Oath, onto Dignitas, it's all the rest of the teams stuck around the edge that are going to have to start fighting into one another. Sonics and Young Kings have been going at it with each other for quite some time. As Sonic starting to break off, look for another angle of approach here. You can see Shrimsy really keeping a watchful eye on what's happening, actually turning her attention to Veritas, getting a knock onto Lobes by Tiggleton, maybe even flushing out what's left of Veritas.
This could be the time that we see Sonics come alive here. Only 1 kill right now, but you can just see the angles that they have, the presence that they're able to input on so many other teams. Veritas get taken out in 7th place, so we're looking at 6 teams remaining. The revive coming through, Dwaikus by Flux. But pushing out, they have just a little bit of tree cover remaining before they have to enter in the field. And that could be Dignitas standing in their way. As you see Sonics now right on top of Akrechi, who made their way across the field from Milta. Gets flashed by his own grenade, but it's going to be Punij with his AWM to drop Shrimsy and leaving just Tiggleton and Mime remaining for Sonics.
And you can see shots back out, but Mime actually taking a bit of damage there from Flux. Waikus seeing what he can hit with the Molotov. And it's actually going to be a little bit of help from Fiumba as they get a knock onto Flux, turning Waikus' attention back away. So Young Kings down to just 1 up here on the north.
He's got a bolt, as well as his, of course, rifle. What can you do with it? Still in some damage from Akrechi onto Oath. That's going to be Oath removed. Just a well-placed grenade is all that they needed here. But immediately here comes Fiumba striking back on in. And now the widespread that Akreche have, will it start to fall apart? Because again, not a lot of cover here up in the hills. It's just some trees remaining. I already saw a little bit of damage. But the fact remains that they're the only team that I would dare call healthy. Especially if these pieces of utility land in the pocket that Dignitas have made for themselves.
Oh, Waikus as well, still a factor. Punij goes down here from Viz King, Sparking. Last one still up for Dignitas, and Waikus using this as the opportunity to strike, does find it. That's it for Dignitas. Immediately they're turning his attention back to LFP, finds 1 knock onto a member of Akreche. 2 actually go down. Fiumba helping out. It's now a 1v1v1 situation. Latam holding the lead here in the final match of the evening. Who is this chicken dinner going to go to? Are we going to see a three-peat from Young Kings? Will Fiumba get a second chicken dinner, or a Kreche finally get one on the board? DraftKings taking the push right now on Savitsky. Actually is going to take him down. A Kreche falls here. It is now a 1v1 versus Young Kings. Waikus has the angle. I mean, the circle will end just at the edge of the field along the tree line. And where the circle is, DraftKings will inevitably feel more pressure from the blue earlier on. So as you say, Waikus just needs to hold this angle a little bit longer. Play this one patiently, and we could potentially see a third chicken dinner for the day. A three-peat, the hat trick for Young Kings. And right as the peak happens, there it is. 9 kills and another victory as they win the last game of the evening.
I pray my dick get big as the Apple Tower, so I can fuck the world for 72 hours.